شتاء تشرين شتاء تشرين شتاء تشرين.
Este episodio de GoyFriendly está grabado en inglés por el idioma de nuestro invitado especial. Hello everybody, I'm Pasante del Mossad. This is episode 5 of the 5th season of GoyFriendly. We have a special guest. We had in our previous episodes someone who has a Palestinian heritage, John Aziz. We had also a Palestinian refugee, Hamza Hawidi. But this is the first time we have someone who is Palestinian, who is from Gaza, and who is actually in Gaza. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be, we hope, I don't know if healthy, but it's something that we must do. Start conversations, get to know each other, and take advantage of someone like Adam. We're going to call him Adam for safety reasons. So Apu, can you tell us why do we have the honor of having Adam as a guest? How did you find about him, and how did you manage to make him feel safe to engage in, in this conversation?
Hello. I found about Adam because he is a friend of another guy in Gaza that we are trying to help to live and to get out of there. And that's how we started talking. And I thought that it was a very interesting character for many reasons that you will discover now. So according to the bio he sent me, Adam is an Arabic writer and English-Arabic translator with a lifelong commitment to liberation. As a queer advocate, he focuses on LGBTQ+ rights, particularly in Palestine. The ongoing war in Gaza has deeply reshaped his perspective on the struggle for justice. So without further ado, Adam, how are you? And where are you talking with us from now?
Thank you. Thank you, Abu. Thank you, Hassan, for this intro. I'm in Gaza currently. I'm doing very well. I don't know how to say it. Fine, okay, very well. But we are living, as you know, currently in the Gaza Strip in Gaza City, born and raised in southern Gaza. I'm trying to comprehend, to understand, to find a meaning for the whole thing that happened, to find a meaning for the attack or the defense of 70-something years, as they say. I can't really say it's an attack or it's a defense, but as long as people has been killed, then it's an attack, of course. If you want to talk about history, it's going to be a defense, as everyone just to say it. This is how they say it, and this is how I'm repeating it. Also, after what happened and during the past 16 months, I'm trying to find a meaning, like how can we overcome this, and why should we have peace at the moment, now that everything is escalated and everything is getting more complicated, but we still have to find peace because those two people, those two nations can't live in the same land with this, in quotation, drama. I don't want to give any terminology for it. So yeah, I'm trying to find a solution by speaking, finding a middle ground.
So you said you're trying to find, you're reaching out, so you're dialoguing with Israelis. Are you open to discussing these topics with them? And what does the future, an ideal future, look like to you?
The future look like we can find peace. It's something doable. It's something achievable. As long as we're going to keep the violence away, then we can find liberation. It's the same thing that we say to queer people, whether they're living under occupation, whether they are living under a government that is not going so easy with the queer community, with the LGBT community. We keep saying the same, that peace is doable, peace is achievable, as long as it's not going towards violence, and if it's not taken with violence. And as much as I believe in backlash, as it's said in history and in other conflicts, but this time it's not really about backlash. It's more about finding a middle ground because the war is there, the violence is there, the backlash is there. Everything is invested in this area, in this zone. So we have to take this all in without avoiding any of it because it's there in order to find peace, which is more complicated, I know, but it's still doable and achievable.
You say you are fighting for queer liberation. Can you explain to us and to our audience what it means to be queer in Gaza in 2025? From your life, how much has to 100% be private? How much can it be public? How much it is dangerous?
Sure. Before that, let me in brief just tell you that everything I'm talking about currently, recently, about the war, it comes from my fighting for queer rights and LGBT rights. And it evolved here now, seeing an oppression from both governments, the government of Gaza and the government of Israel. Both caused oppression, both caused violence. This is how I see it as I'm living here in Gaza. So seeing the same oppression with a different form, of course, an escalated form, but seeing there is oppression is what made me think that not just queers in Gaza needs to be fought for, but also all the civilians and all the people who are living oppression. So from there, I started to look for identity, as I have looked before in my sexual identity. So I looked in my roots and then my identity here as a Palestinian who lives in Gaza. And I found that there are roots for Jews and there are roots for Muslims, for Arabs, there are roots for almost 6 ethnicities here in Palestine. And it can take it all in. Talking about the oppression and how does an individual queer lives in Gaza, it was not really that hard in Gaza before the war, but it's always indoors. It's always inside the closet. I mean, you won't be attacked in the streets if you are wearing shorts or if you're wearing something with rainbow on it. It's not going to be, you're not going to face violence. This is how most of my friends used to live. The reputation will be hell for an individual living in society. Everyone will talk about their reputation, their attitude, how it is different, because here there's a lot of conservatives and any form of queer attitude would be noticed and would be attacked, but verbally and not directly also. So you won't be attacked in the middle of the street. You won't be punished by the government for having sexual engagement with someone. But there are these cases documented, recorded, about someone who had a communication with someone from Ashkelon, and they were online texting, and he had, I remember, 12 days detention for that, and a complicated investigation by the government, by Hamas. They have investigated him really bad, if I can say that.
Before getting to what are the penalties for contacting Israelis, I want to understand about attitudes of the Hamas government before this last war towards LGBTQ. What we hear is that it's a type of government that would throw people from roofs, let's say. Is that correct? Is that rare? Is that false?
I really can't say if it's false or true, or I really don't have any information for that. All that I'm saying is that during my experience and so many individuals I've met from 2018 till 2021, these 3-4 years, I gathered testimonies and opinions about how to live as a queer in Gaza. It wasn't as it is pictured for the West. I'm not defending the government because they were not really going easy with that. They were not at all. But as long as it's related to a security matter, so if someone was talking to Israel's queer, that's a big thing. That's a really big thing. And if someone who were outside Gaza and came from abroad, anywhere, and now he's practicing the Gaza Strip, he will be monitored, he will be observed, they are just afraid of these things.
If I'm getting the picture right, anyone in Gaza who is not straight, bisexual, gay, his life or her life is not threatened unless it contacts someone from abroad, because in that case, Hamas would assume it's working for the enemy. It's not like they are against gay people per se, like what we understand in the West, that being gay is haram. It's basically that they feel threatened by the contact with someone abroad. It works like that. It's not like you are forced to keep your gaiety for yourself. You can actually go to a bar and, I don't know, walking hand in hand or
I gotta be honest about it. You can be gay inside of the Gaza Strip, but you can't be gaying it out in the Gaza Strip. You can. They will know. They will know. Even if you are staying low and you're not going out of the closet, at the end, the government itself, they will know. They do gather information about people's sexual life, especially if it's different. So they do gather this information, and only for security matters. Plus, if the sexual activity is affecting his family, her family, or affecting the reputation of the family. So they have to give an advice, and if the advice is not working, then they will detain this person and they will talk to him about it. Usually they will find, and I don't know if I can say this in public, but I'm saying it anyway. Usually they find another reason for put this person in detention. So they will look for other mistake to put you in jail and then talk to you about both things. The mistake that they got you in and your sexuality.
there's something related to the honorability of the family. Are you familiar with cases in which someone who is gay got beaten or maybe murdered because of dishonoring the family?
So there are two cases, as far as I know, maybe there's more, but there are two cases where someone was detained in 2020 and the other person got detained in 2016, both for the same thing. One of them has been detained by their family. His family told the government that we can't make him go, make him stop. So if you can find a solution. So he was detained for 27 days. And it was all the talking was about his sexuality and also his travel. They made it long, the detention, by talking about his life outside Gaza. But it was all just a detention and more days of detention to break his sexual activity. And I also want to say that I did a paper talking about how gays used to live in Gaza before the war, according to society, family, and government. It has a brief paragraph for each part of it, the society, the government, and the family. It talks about how the government was easy as long as you're not touching security, and it's easy as long as you're not touching the reputation and not talking loud and in public in the society, because they want us to respect the traditions of the society, and they want us to not be conservatives, but respect the conservatives inside the city. Yeah, I hope I answered you.
Yes, well, I mean, as you can guess, us being Jews in the West and being familiar with the gay scene in Tel Aviv, it's like a big contrast, but we can understand, because in the West we do have conservative people that when you have like the gay parade season, they freak out because they are tied to family values, and maybe they are more like connected with the more traditional Christian values, and they get polarized. And I mean, we can understand that something like that happens in a conservative society, Muslim conservative society, but we don't get as much hate crimes for the sexual orientation, I think, like the ones that you are describing. Not that they are happening in the West. But it's interesting to collect your thoughts on how this is or why this is happening, which according to you it has to do more with the Hamas paranoia with regards to their security, but they go hand in hand with being a more open and free society, because in an open and free society you can have something like Hamas governing. So when it comes to that, I assume that you don't like the current government and that you would like free elections. How do you think the future will look like if we manage to get something like I don't know if peace, but I mean the absence of war and mutual recognition of the right to exist from both people. How do you think that Gaza is going to be like in 5 or 10 years?
So this is a really hard question. First of all, thank you for saying the word paranoia, because they are really paranoid about almost everything. And our conservatives, I mean, your conservatives are much better than ours. That's something you know, I guess. And if I want to talk about the question, how is it going to be in 5, 10 years? It's really hard question. It's actually the first question that's been asked in the research I'm working in about queer life in Palestine. I still don't have an answer for that, but I can say that living without, I mean, for a gay person, you can exist here, but you can't be saying that you are gays unless it's secret groups. And yeah, so the gatherings are also secret, most of it. We don't have the gay dating apps. It's really, it's a thing when you meet a queer individual here in Gaza. So if I want to say how is it going to be, or how I wish it's going to be, is that we do practice the relationship activity, all of it, without being judged. So I was saying at the first of the podcast that you won't be attacked in public and the society is not going to attack you, but you will definitely be judged. So not being judged is something I don't know. When I used to walk and thinking of holding hands with someone, that's a big thing. I believe that everyone in the street who's seeing our hands holding will judge, at least, if not saying a word or something, if not teasing us with a word. This would happen. So walking in public in the streets in the form of a relationship, not just a friendship, is something I really would love it to happen. As I used to walk with my friends on the Corniche, on the Al-Mawasi area, on a Rashid Street. It's a place we used to love to walk. And I love to see queer individuals and queer couples walking in this place, not feeling guilt and not feeling being judged. And the second thing is everyone who's deciding, who's willing to do a sexual activity, they will calculate everything before doing that. You might ask about the people who are living in the next block, where you are going to get laid in that place. So you're going to ask about the whole block because you're kind of scared. There will be someone who's... in terms of homophobia, I really didn't see so much of homophobia unless it's happened by family. The family would...
Yeah, I would like to ask you, because it's different also when it comes to males being gay, females being lesbians. I mean, that's my prejudice, if you want to think it like that, because I think a Muslim conservative society values men more than female. So what happened with lesbians in Gaza? They are in more danger than male gays?
It's really more dangerous, yeah. It is. If we're talking about lesbian life here, it's more complicated. It's hard. They all wish to... I mean, I've heard this from so many women here. They wish to find a place to meet and to only to hold hands and to see each other without hijab and practice. Usually we meet in public places, cafes, restaurants, and this. But it's more easier for men, for gay men, to find a place, to be in a place. But it's hard for women, lesbians, to find a place if we're talking about privacy.
You mentioned that wearing shorts is forbidden for men too?
It's not forbidden and it's not haram, but it's something that conservatives doesn't like. So if you're wearing a short, you will be judged. But here in Gaza City and in the north, it's much easier than the south. And it sounds crazy to say south and north while the whole Gaza Strip is just 40 minutes by the car. You cannot go. But there is different perspectives and different ideologies from the south to the north. I myself can't wear a short in my village. And if I wore a short, I believe 10 people at least would ask me about the short and why am I wearing it. And maybe my family would come the second day and say, did you wear a short yesterday? And yeah.
Let me understand that. I mean, if you go to the beach, you have to wear shorts. There's no way. I mean, the temperature in Gaza couldn't be really that different than the hot summers that I've experienced in Israel. I understand that women can use a bikini or a swimming bath. Yeah, I don't know what's the name of the whole piece.
Yeah.
But what happens there in summer? What is it like for
can,
people in general, not gay people? But
you can wear a short. All men wear shorts on the beach, only on the beach and on Rashid Street. But if you're wearing it casually in the street, in the village, everyone will talk. And there are limits for how short is your short. So yeah.
In Iran, with the regime that they have like this, they measure the hijab in the heads of the women. That there's like a short police or something like that.
No, well, there's the really short, and you can't wear that. You cannot. Yeah, you can. And there's the normal shorts. You can wear them on the beach. And there are some kind of shorts that it's below the knee. You can wear them in everywhere else.
Bermudas, I think we call them. That the name may be different there. Pasante.
Like short cargo pants or something like that.
So, you can wear Bermudas wherever you want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in conclusion, the clothes is something everyone would love. In South also, it's kind of not so cool to wear necklace, to wear these things along with the shorts. To conservatives and to more conservatives and to extreme conservatives, this is how the spectrum of the Gaza society goes.
There's something that I wanted to ask you with regards to lesbians, because in the West, there's this guy in Instagram, which he's gay. He branded the concept power gay. Mm-hmm. He traveled a lot to Israel. Daniel Ryan Spalding. He's in Instagram. He's amazing. And he keeps bashing the angry lesbian, he calls them, from the West that got radicalized by this Islamist global jihadi movement. And somehow it's like you have the angry lesbians in the West, not connecting with the lesbians in Gaza, actually living in Asia. What are your thoughts with the whole global or Western LGBTQ radicalized Free Palestine movement?
This is an important question. First, I have to say something that I forgot to answer you. It's also related to this question. Applying all the things that the gay movement and the LGBT liberation, all the things that they applied in the West, I mean, most of them cannot be applied here in Gaza. We have to have our own image and our own rules for how to live free, because you can't live 100% free as they are living in New York, but you can live slightly liberal here. But the problem is that we are always applying the Western and the white rules for that. The things that they did in the West cannot work here fully. This is what I'm saying. So the connection between the lesbians in Europe and in the West, they are not connected to lesbians here. It's also because of the almost same thing. They are extremely liberal in the West, and they can't be extremely liberal in here. So when a woman is cheating up or taking off the hijab of someone in here, it goes a little bit with policing. So keep telling them the ideas that they have to have inside, like, let's say, an Egyptian society. It's not going to work. And taking off the hijab itself would work, but it's not going to work with these same appliances in the West. So
what do you mean?
I mean that you can't tell a woman in Egypt, in Palestine, and anywhere who's, let's say, hijabi, you can't tell her to, or let's say a lesbian who doesn't wear hijab, even wear hijab, but you tell her to wear a shirt or like a T-shirt that has rainbow flag on it or any queer statement.
Do you get to see people with piercings like in the West? Like because we have like the piercings became something like really fancy, and sometimes it's like the more you have, like the more radical maybe. It's not only about aesthetics, but.
I love piercing, and I would love to have a piercing. But when I thought about it when I was in Istanbul, I was like, I'm gonna be taking this off directly before I come to Gaza, because you can't have piercing here in Gaza. You can, as I said, you can do whatever you want, but you will be judged and you might be attacked verbally. During the war, everything is cancelled of what I said. You might be attacked. You might be attacked, not just verbally, if you are acting queer. Everyone is under pressure and everyone is being more conservative than before. So here, these times, let's talk about before the war. You can wear piercing in Gaza as a male, and as a female, if you're doing a piercing to your nose, some people would question it, would talk about it, would judge it. But ear piercing and other piercings, it's fine. It's a big thing if you're doing a tongue piercing. I've never seen it in Gaza, and I believe so much that everyone will judge it. But I still hope that someone will do it. Someone would break the chain and put the picture on their social media, and I'm hoping they're an influencer, and everyone will talk about it. And here's the exposure. I would love to find an exposure happens about these things in Gaza.
So going back to the angry lesbians from the West, I just wanted to know your thoughts. I mean, do you think they are helping with this really energetic and I would say, from my own perspective, really anti-Semitic rants? Are they doing something positive for the people in Gaza, or they are just making things worse?
This is one of the things I really don't know how to answer, because if we are talking about the world currently, it's split into two: pro-Palestinians, pro-Israelis. Pro-Israelis are calling pro-Palestinians anti-Semites. Pro-Palestinians are calling pro-Israelis Zionists, as if Zionist is a bad word. They are using it. So it's a big split that is happening. And for the gay movement for Palestine, they are doing their job as pro-Palestinians. They are doing their job as, I don't know if supporting the cause, Palestinian or Israelis, or supporting the peace mission, needs any sexuality involved. It just needs human beings to be involved. And naming ourselves, we are gays for Palestine, it's something, okay, I like it. I like to show that even gays are with the civilians who are being killed, even all these narratives that they are using it. But does it really matter so much to find sexualities and find genders and find everyone collaborating to be? It only needs a human. Yes, we can say nationalities. British people are standing with this. Americans are standing with this. This is something we are familiar with, nationalities. But sexualities, I don't know. And they are standing with Palestine. As a Palestinian, okay, thank you so much. Chapeau for doing that. But you just said they are being anti-Semite. I found some anti-Semite tweets on X, posts on X, and I myself called them anti-Semitic. And I don't know why people would go this aggressive. But if you could tell me, if you, Bassam, could tell me, why do you see them as anti-Semitic?
Okay, that's one good question from your side. I think I never had the opportunity to express it openly, but there is this tiny country to which I am related. There is this city called Jerusalem. There is this mountain called Zion, Mount Zion, and that's where Zionism starts. Every time I walk the streets of Jerusalem, I feel a pull, a strong connection that says, okay, you belong here. I mean, I am an Argentinian. I've lived in Argentina all my life. I speak Spanish like it's my mother language.
Yeah.
But that connection is something that there's millions of people in this planet willing to deny it, and deny me the right, and any Jew in this planet, any of the 16 million, I think, were something like that, 15, 16 million, to have a country of our own in a place where we used to exist, because they engage in this underdog support thing that, okay, so the Palestinians are having a bad time, so nobody wants people to die. I mean, war is awful. And there's the other thing that most people don't think. Killing someone, it's, I think, one of the worst things that you can go through. But the first time I was in Israel, I was 17. I kept asking each Israeli that I've met, did you kill someone? And for me, it was an obsession, because I've never had the chance to be in a place where someone had to go through many wars. But having this moral upper position towards this tiny group of people, considering the whole planet, and not accepting that we existed before, that we have the right to exist and to return if we want, or stay in the countries that we were born after 2,000 years of, or even more of diaspora, I find it anti-Semitic. I mean, they don't want me to exist. They don't want this country, like any other country, to exist. When it comes to these two people, the Palestinians or the Arab that ultimately recognize themselves as Arab Palestinians, I mean, I'm okay to live side by side there. I actually enjoy a lot engaging in Arab conversations. So I mean, I wish to learn more Arab to just play the thing of exchanging concepts and ideas in a foreign language. But the moment that someone wants to destroy that or deny that, okay, then I can't understand it in any other way than anti-Semitic, which is, I don't want you to exist. I don't want your country to exist. Then I'm going to keep reproducing propaganda about you never existing there, you never being a people, you actually being some foreign entity, you actually being part of a ring of power. I wish I will be part of a ring of power, because it will make things easier to make ends meet for me. But I think it relates to that. It's not about getting pissed off about what Israel does wrong or right, or what I think Israel does wrong or right, or Netanyahu, or whoever is in charge. It has to go with that core thing. The moment someone denies my right to exist, I feel it like that, and the right of this country to exist and defend. So it goes to that. It's not like every time I find someone going against Israel, I'm going to shout anti-Semitic. I feel it. I mean, it's not that I'm fighting you. It's like I'm defending. I need to say it out loud. And I think it comes with this thing that we are only 50 million. The moment someone really wants to push to destroy us, I mean, right now we have Israel, but it happened and it's been happening. And we are born and raised with that knowledge, and we accept that. There's this cartoon that the devils with horns and the spiky tail, because most people never get to meet an actual Jew. And for us, it's like at some point it's funny to
monsters.
Exactly. I mean, after you get to meet a monster, that's something that I would like to ask you. What's your relationship with Jews or Israelis? Did you have like a chance to share some meals, go out, have dinner? I don't know if you're willing to get more details on.
Okay, so interesting fact about me. Before I come to Gaza, 2 months before the war, I was working in a Jew company in Istanbul. Most of my colleagues were Turkish Jews, Cypriot Jews, Ukrainian Jews, and some Israelis. Few Israelis. The rest were Jews from also Romanian and a Greek. Yeah. They were all speaking English. We were living happily inside the. We never mentioned Gaza, to be honest, and I never mentioned Hamas. And I was not interested at all about Hamas. And I lived with them here in Gaza for many years. But as soon as I got out, I decided to leave this behind. And the irony is that I came to live the whole war that is caused by Hamas. So, and despite it is defending for 70 years, or it's just an attack, I don't want to give names, as I said, and my opinion doesn't really matter here. And I just not willing to express so much about the 7th of October. I reject it. I do reject the 7th of October. I do reject this day. I do reject all the violence that happened, as much as I reject all the bombing that is still ongoing here. I reject all kinds and all forms of violence. This is something you can hear from, you predict, you expect from a queer, from a gay who live several layers of oppression. So also I started talking to Israelis and Jew people a year before the war. Luckily, I met Abu in a group where it's called Mission Mitzvah. So I met him in a place that is talking about peace and helping the other people and looking for good deeds. And it doesn't really necessary to have a good deed. Mitzvah means to do the good thing regardless how you're going to be rewarded, as far as I read about it. So it was a good thing. Finding Abu, finding other women in the same group, all willing to help our friend in Gaza, along with four people from Israel who are also helping our friend. They are all Jews from inside and outside Israel who are willing to help discipline, made me believe that there are peacemakers and there are pacifists as much as in Israel as much as in here. And recently there was these people who are raising pictures for children that died, Israeli children that died. This also gives a glimpse to the people in Israel that there are pacifists here in Gaza. And taking this idea that there are people who are looking for peace and there are people who are talking to the other side without sensing they are monsters is something really touching me and touching lots of people here and making us feel that peace is doable. And there's something I used to believe in, that there is no justice, no peace. But recently, repeating this chanting is kind of toxic as much as I'm seeing. I've been talking to this filmmaker in Israel. She's from Ramat Aviv. She said she's willing to talk about peace without talking about peace. It's just we want to talk about the connection between Israelis and Gazans without talking about what they really need. We will just talk about the borders and the liberty, living free. And we're not talking about governments or anything. And I said chanting about no justice, no peace makes the peace mission conditional and makes it really, really hard. In other words, let's just overcome all the things that happened. I know how much it escalated and how much it became complicated, but let's overcome all of it for once in our life and start talking about what it will be. Every time an Israeli and a Palestinian talks, they will bring out history. Just like an hour ago, Abu and I, we were texting on WhatsApp, and this is what we just talked about, history. And bringing up history always makes it complicated. And I'm not denying the right of people to return, and I'm not denying the Israelis who came to Palestine years ago after diaspora. I'm not denying any of it, but let's just not talk about it. Let's just talk about peace. Let's talk about how we're going to make Palestine again, and Israel again. Both countries, if it was called Israel, if it was called Palestine, it had both nations living inside of it. So we can make it up for the people who forced violence. We can make it up for the people who lived inside Gaza and faced all this. We can make it up for the Israelis who lost their loved ones. I don't know how we can't bring the people, of course, but we can make it up somehow without speaking about history. And we're gonna keep saying, I mean, Al-Nakba is a big thing, but if we are going to keep saying Al-Nakba, we are never ever going to have two states country or one state country or whatever state there's.
I was hearing you and I was thinking about the power of words. The whole claim, free Palestine. It's like if we manage to just chant peace for Palestine, or peace for Israel. I mean, you use the word peace. I never use the word peace. I mean, I never used it in the last 2 years. And I think it's like you say, if you keep bringing stuff, I mean, there will be a point where politicians will remain attached to history in order to negotiate and bring a deal that nobody would like, but it's going to be the best deal possible, as long as we have some sort of symmetry balance between what we need for decent living and what people in Palestine need for a decent living. I think there's still something that has to happen in Palestinian society. If we do stuff like this, like engaging in a conversation with someone from the other side. I mean, I'm as a Jew from a diaspora, I don't have any danger. An Israeli maybe either, but you are in danger right now. I mean, and for that we really thank you for being this brave to just connect with us. But what are your thoughts? I mean, what are the changes that needs to be pushed inside the Palestinian or the Gaza society in order to engage in peace?
Okay. First of all, I loved so much that you said, you rephrased it to peace for Palestine. People who are chanting free Palestine, and they even made it more complicated. I would love to have a free Palestine. I'm Palestinian at the end of the day. But saying free Palestine until Palestine is free, this is making it more complicated, because in the perspective, I want Palestine to be free, and there is no free Palestine unless Palestine is free. That's true, but people are thinking now of Palestine as the whole land. And okay, the whole land is Palestine, before someone execute me here, but no, I'm in a public work hall. But like thinking of how is it going to be free. If we're talking about a solution that there will be Palestinian areas like the Gaza Strip, West Bank, and other places for Palestinian with no settlements, with no any Israeli presence, then they will stop saying free Palestine, isn't it? But now they are talking about free Palestine, meaning the whole land. So it has to be slightly changed into, like, peace for Palestine could be a good word, because free Palestine is a big word, as I'm saying. We either kick out all of the Jews, all of the Israelis out of Palestine to make free Palestine, which is the whole land they are talking about, or we're gonna do the second solution, which is more doable, is to make areas for Palestinians to live inside Palestine and make like the two-state country solution. And if it does happen, then people will stop chanting free Palestine. If they start now with peace for Palestine, applying peace is the first step. Second step is finding two-state solution. But with this, everyone, as Abu were saying, every time they withdraw from a place, from Gaza or any place, we're not going to attack you, the Arabs says, Palestinians. And I don't know if there are agreements of peace that is really an agreement for the two nations not to attack each other, but there's always a breach in each agreement. So what I'm saying in conclusion is that peace for Palestine is something has to be applied before thinking of a free Palestine. This is all I'm saying, because a free Palestine is a big word and making it complicated, because the whole world is waiting and chanting for the liberation of Palestinians according to having their own land, the whole Palestine, without any Israeli, without any presence of Israelis. And as we know, there was Arab Jews and English Jews, maybe Greek Jews also, Romanian Jews in Palestine living in the Ottoman Empire. So we still can live together. This is something classic, and everyone says it. We can still live together. We still can live together inside the same country, but we are not talking about it. We are either talking about justice for Israelis from 7th October or free Palestine and the right to return because of Nakba. This has all happened, and I'm reinforcing on the idea of overcoming all this in order to find peace inside of it. I would love to find my friends from UK visiting me in Gaza, just like as you are visiting Jerusalem from Argentina. This will never happen without a state, and a state will never happen without finding peace first.
I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen without a state. I am agnostic in terms of how many states do we need to have peace. I would like to go back to your cultural experience and your knowledge of the society there. If you could paint us a picture of the different layers that there are in both Gaza and the West Bank, the Arabs of 1948. I understand, according to what we have discussed, that your grandfathers were born in the south of Gaza, even before 1948, what we call the Milchemet HaShichur, the War of Liberation, the War of Independence, and the Arabs in general started to call the Nakba, which was the tragedy of losing 5 armies against the State of Israel. Then it was taken by the Palestinians to represent displacement, but originally it was created by a Syrian nationalist to signify how can we lose against these losers. I wanted to understand, your ancestors are from the south of Gaza. That probably changed a lot, but I understand that the south of Gaza is not as rich as the north, and therefore there might be some discrimination. Is not the word I'm like frowned upon, like I'm from the north, you're from the south, you know what I mean. And how many layers of different societies left? You have also clans, you have tribes, you have families that have been there for centuries, and you have people that arrived due to wars. And Then Gaza versus West Bank. Like, I know that they don't necessarily get along too well. Like, West Bank looks different to Gazans and vice versa. And within the West Bank, can you paint us a picture within the what we call the Palestinian society?
No, the question is clear. Thank you for asking it. It's something can be illustrated. It can be illustrated. We have a mosaic of diversities here. It's like, yeah, so many diversities, but the suspension and the division is not that much. We do have this tone of saying you're from the south and I'm from the north. There is this tone. There is the tone about you are a refugee from the 1948 and I'm a Gaza, originally Gazan and a refugee. There is this. We don't have people from 1948 living in here. We do have some people from the West Bank who live here, but they are now considered as Gazans. Also, everyone in Gaza is considered as Gazans at the moment, but 20 years ago, there was those people who won't let their daughter marry someone who's not originally a Gazan because of the heritage, because of the traditions, because of few things. We can talk about them, but it would really make us look bad. So just brief, there are diversities about the place, about the origins, and about the accent even. The accent's different. Some people would evaluate you according to the accent. This is something in everywhere. They would consider this accent is vulgar and this accent is cool. This accent is classy and this is something.
Which is the high class accent?
I don't get classifications about it.
It's interesting because I never thought about poshy Palestinians. Poshy, kind of like.
Yeah. In my opinion, Jerusalem accent is a delight. I love it so much. The Gazan accent is also lovely. Inside the Gaza Strip, we have like 8-9 dialects. And the people of Al-Rimal, where I'm currently now in the Gaza City, it's the most desirable accent to be heard. It's the pushy accent, as you said, they would say. And there are different accents from the north to the middle areas, to south areas, to southeast areas. Yeah, it could be classified by people from the worst accent to the best accent. And look, he talks like people from Al-Rimal. He seems like from a Gaza City. They would say that. I used to give a workshop called the Diversity is Unity in 2017, and also the government, our paranoid Hamsawis, made me to stop giving this lecture because they said I talked first about people, refugees and the Gazans and family names, and at the end I talked about Fatah and Hamas. Why shouldn't there should not be diversity in Fatah and Hamas? This is where they stopped me. And this is where they accused me of whitewashing. And because PA, Palestinian authorities, is bad to Hamas. Hamas doesn't like Fatah at all. So they said I'm whitewashing and I'm making Fatah looks nice. They made me stop. Then again, I did the workshop one more time and they made me stop because I talked about the origins of the Gazans. So for me, my grandfathers, this is something you really want to hear our book. So my grandfathers came to Gaza 480 years ago from Saudi Arabia. So I was talking about if we are going to talk about refugees in the Gaza Strip, this means I'm a refugee. I came out of Gaza, and this means no one here living in the Gaza city is now a refugee because they were living for 70, 80 years, something. So they are not refugees anymore. They are Gaza citizens as much as I'm a Gaza citizen. I was called refugee 400 years ago, and now I'm a citizen, and they are the same who are living here. And they started telling me, stop talking about this because this gives a glance about not all Gazans are from Gaza. And this is something comprehensible to me and to every scholar, to a scientist, to anyone who's civilized. It's something to be understood that there are people who are going to the US and getting the citizenship and now they are Americans. So this is something we should understand right here, but they are not comprehending. I'm saying that this doesn't really necessarily take off my identity as a Palestinian, as a Gaza, but they are saying, no, it is. taking off your identity. Stop talking about the origins. This is so old, and you are now a Gazan. Stop saying where you came from. And I used to say it's written in the book. It's my family book. We came from there, and this is how we regrew from Jordan and Saudi Arabia and another place, and Egypt. We all came to the Gaza Strip, and we owned the village. So 480 years ago, if another family name came, the village wouldn't be there. It's ours. And sorry, I'm saying ours because we owe the family name, not us, not my family, but the family name owes a huge area of the village. So they really want it to be vague, while I only used it to highlight the rights of refugees to live here as Gazans without being labeled as refugees. And it didn't work.
What the Hamsawis or Hamasnik didn't want to hear was that your family arrived 400 years ago.
Yes, they didn't want me to talk about this in public.
They would expect you to say, I was here during Jesus' time, my family was here, and Jesus was a Palestinian, that kind of narrative?
Yes, they are not expecting me to say publicly that not every Gazan was born and raised, their great-grandparents. They did not born originally in Gaza. They came from other place. And this is the logic. This is what it is. Everyone came from another country to live in this country and became a citizenship of it. This is how it all happened in the world. Yes.
I mean, it's an interesting contrast with what happens with Jewish and Israelis. I mean, we are proud of our origins, and we try to kind of like discover our roots and how far we can reach, because, I mean, we're talking about millenniums. We don't hide it. There is no government that pushes us to hide it. Actually, we have institutions doing the research and filing things and keeping the memory. And I think when you picture Hamas like this, I think this is something really powerful that we can agree, both parties, that Hamas became a very complicated obstacle for peace, regardless of who's in power in Israel. The peace movement being diminished after October 7 because people in the kibbutz that were massacred were the peaceniks. But I think as long as Hamas retains power, it's going to be complicated. But not because of what they have against the Israelis or Jews, because the way they picture and they want to frame the Palestinian history. What's your take on that?
So if we were going to talk about resistance, not terrorists, resistance is an ideology I like. I really like to read about. I really like to see the history of resistance in South Africa, in France especially, and all the history about it is really good. But Hamas has shifted from being a resistance movement, in my opinion. This is not something for PA. It's going to be published, of course, by you guys, but it's just an individual opinion who's not a politician and doesn't care about politics. They shifted from being a resistance movement to become this movement who is weaker in the identity. So if there's an Hamsawi who's talking about the right to defend, the right to take the land back, and all this, then he has to be stronger enough to enforce his roots, and he has to be brave enough and authentic enough to look where did he came from and where this. But they are not doing this. They are closing and shutting down every gap that talks about our origins, where we came from, and how can we cope with this. They are not. They just want to say, in 1948, someone came, took the land, that is ours. But where did we came from before the 1948? They are not going to discuss that, and they are not going to admit that we are all came from other places, and we did our small settlements that became villages, and the whole idea of moving to a new place and establishing your mini civilization there, society. So they are changing, they are shifting. I have never acknowledged and said that they are a resistance movement. I hope no Palestinian hears this, but they, yes, I have never said they are a resistance movement. I've always thought of them as politicians who are profiting and gaining political gains out of this whole conflict. Of course, I can't talk anything bad about the resistance members. There are people who you guys call terrorists, but they are just fed by the idea of resistance and fed by the idea of liberation, and they are doing their job according to the things that they have been fed by. All I'm saying is that they are not taking it as it should be. And if they are strong enough with the identity they have, if they are strong enough with the background, with the ideology, with everything, they wouldn't be so intimidated by an idea, by someone who's bringing the idea of my ancestors and the idea of where I came from. And honestly, I was not at all trying to be different or bringing something that is controversial at that time in 2017. But still, they shut down the whole project, the whole workshops. First, they didn't want me to talk about ancestors, and second, they didn't want me to talk about Fatah and Hamas and the presence of other parties. It's they are excluding. It's an explanation for any diversity, for anything different, and this is where the mistake came. This is where everything started to collapse, in my opinion. If they are being intimidated by these small ideas and these small things, then this means they are not strong enough and their identity is not strong enough. This is my opinion about it.
So the idea of resistance, forget about the terrorism part, but the idea of resistance and naming an operation Al-Aqsa Flood with the objective of getting to an quote-unquote liberating Al-Aqsa or Jerusalem, as we call it, they failed to do so on all the occasions that they tried, and there was a comprehensive plan to achieve this goal, and it included not just Gaza, but also from the north, and it failed for different reasons. In your conversation with people that are part of this Hamas movement, do you feel that there is some change of mind regarding the success? I'm not even judging the idea, like they wanted to conquer Jerusalem, they couldn't. Do they acknowledge that they failed? Is there any change of mind with regards to their capability of winning anything via force?
Okay, I might sound sarcastic, but I'm not. I'm just giving you the narrative as I saw it. In the first month of the war, there was this person who's also a relative. He was saying, I was asking, what about electricity? Why can't it be solved? And I was asking questions about why won't the government now take care of this and that instead of just caring so much about public and all the things they cared about at that time. And he was like, what can we do? We can't do nothing. Can you see? And I thought he's screaming from the inside. He wants to scream and say, what have we done? This is how I felt it. And after the first ceasefire, second month of the war, they started showing how much they are strong and how much it can be solved. And then again, I was pushing hard on someone, on one of them. We got late. I'm saying this in public. And afterward, we started talking. And I asked the question, like, do you think all that happened is right? And do you think it's going to take us as Palestinians somewhere good? And he said, I don't think we are going anywhere good. And we both laughed. And it was a testimony that I can never forget. And recently, they were just saying that Netanyahu is afraid of the court. Netanyahu is making the war longer because he doesn't want to do the court, all this. And Smotrich and Ben-Gvir is just want to make everyone scared, and they are just making themselves intimidating. And this is, and in other words, they are saying that none of this is real. And this huge denial and this feeding in their small gatherings that I'm also familiar with one of them. I was there by coincidence and I said hi. So I was invited. I witnessed 3 minutes and I couldn't do anything more. I just left. There were, I believe, 8 people of them. They were drinking tea and they were talking peacefully about how they should react, how they should be talking their tune inside the society in order to make everyone tolerating this nightmare, in order to make everyone more patient. And yeah, same narrative as Al Jazeera is showing. So they were talking about this, and I figured that they are not really tolerating it, but they are showing that they are tolerating it. So the first testimony from my cousin, and the second from my friend, and the third one was really recent. I talked about it with Abu, and he was talking things like, we are losing members of the resistance, we are losing sources, and I think we can now go to the table of negotiations. And when he said that, I was like, couldn't you just think of that and talk about your friends, your colleagues, about going to the table of negotiation really earlier now? So also I asked someone if he's willing to stay in Hamas after the war. They said no, as soon as the gates are open, I'm willing to travel so soon. And I was like, okay, I understand. And lots of them who are thinking the same, who are thinking, they did not say this directly, the statement of what have we done, but this is how we used to sense it. But many of them stated that they are going to flee Gaza. Some of them used to blame their commanders, used to say things like, why the fuck did he do that? He could have done it that way. And I'm talking about area commander, not like a Sinwar or someone. Small areas, how can we say, those grouping. So they were criticizing each other. There was a conflict inside the conflict here in the Gaza Strip. And the more they are under pressure, the more they are attacking the robbers, they are attacking the sexual exploitation, they are attacking many forms of attitudes that happen because of the pressure that is caused because of the 7th of October. So to cure, to heal, to process and deal with these attitudes, we have to put in consideration that there is pressure caused by the government, and now the government is trying to solve the problem that they have made it. So it's kind of complicated, but what I'm saying is that they are directing their anger in the wrong place. That's because they are under pressure and they can't express their anger toward each other. They can't. This friend who is criticizing his commander in front of me, he can't do this in front of his commander.
When we are facing a paranoid authoritarian regime, it's really complicated because it cracks from the inside. It's not like you have an open-minded self-critique process. So we're probably going to see something like a meltdown rather than an evolution. In any case, getting rid of Hamas, I think it's beneficial for everybody. Adam, I mean, I feel like we can have a whole season of GoyFriendly, like 7-8 chapters covering many subjects. No, but I mean, for me, from human to human, I mean, first of all, thank you for your time, thank you for your bravery. Like I said, for us, it's for free. We are not putting anything at risk. Maybe someone is going to get angry in our socials next, but for you, I can feel that you're putting some serious skin in the game. And once again, thank you. Shukran jazilan. Muchas gracias. I don't know if we're going to be able to make several episodes with you, but let this be the first of many conversations, because I'm pretty sure it's going to inspire other people around the region and hopefully the planet, because it's about this. It's about exchanging views and getting to know where everybody comes from and the story, and not letting the story be on top of what we feel. And it's a blend of translating all of that to our leaders and politicians. And let's hope we can get to live peaceful times and maybe get to meet, I don't know, in Tel Aviv or I don't know, in a new rebranded Gaza City, wearing shorts without someone spying on us.
Of course.
I don't know, Abu, if you want to just share some words just to give this a closure and free Adam from ourselves, at least.
I was just going to say Tasharafna, and go ahead, Adam, giving you the closing remarks.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. Naim Yaoud from my side. And I would love to say that we are not blaming anyone in here. We are standing in the gray area. We are not giving any terminology. We are not giving any label. And as you said, that we shouldn't be ignoring our feelings. And this is where I started from. And it might sound weird, but I had this empathizing with the Hamsawi guys in here because they are, I don't know, but they are just in trouble. And as everyone here in the Gaza Strip was involved in this trouble, if we can say. So I started with my feelings and how I should go. And by empathizing with the government here and the government members, I started also empathizing with the people of Israel. And this is where I started to talk. And not ignoring our feelings as Israelis and Palestinians is something really important. The peace mission can be done by standing at first in the middle, just in the gray area, instead of taking a side. I'm not in the right wing nor in the left wing, not thinking of being in one of them currently, and not supporting any of them, because both of them in Israel and Palestine are trying just to make the political project succeed. And it's not about the civilians. This is what this war in particular showed us all, that civilians is not really the cause for this. And yes, we are here just to, I'm so glad that you guys invited me to the podcast. I heard many of them, especially the last one about the Egyptian person. He represents a lot of also the dynamics that I had. We share the same dynamics, I believe, him and I, with different perspectives, of course, but same thing. In here, I'm so happy that we're here. We can go also for part 2, part 3. We can inspire. I came here actually to inspire. I know that there are more Israelis and Jews listening in the audience, more than Muslims and Arabs, I believe. So I was hoping to inspire some of them about looking at the people of the Gaza Strip in a different way. I hope this worked, and thank you so much again.
Thank you. Shukran. Toda.
תודה רבה.
أعيدك أني لن أستكين رغم الآلام وشتاء تشرين شتاء تشرين شتاء